Princeton University Press Audio presents Dreams by C.G. Jung, from the collected works of C.G. Jung, Volumes 4, 8, 12, and 16, with a new foreword by Sonu Shamdasani, translated by R.F.C. Hull, read by John Telfer. Foreword to the 2010 edition. Reading Jung after the Red Book. With the publication of Liber Novus, Jung's Red Book, a new chapter opens in the reading of Jung's works. For the first time, one is in a position to grasp the constitution of Jung's work from 1914 onward, and to trace the intimate connections between his self-experimentation and his attempts to determine the typical features of this process through his work with his patients, and translate his insights into a language acceptable to a medical and scientific public. Thus, reading Liber Novus brings with it the task of rereading Jung's collected works, much of which appears in a wholly new light. In the winter of 1913, Jung embarked on a process of self-experimentation. He deliberately gave free rein to his fantasy thinking and carefully noted what ensued. He later called this process active imagination. He wrote down these fantasies in the Black Books. These are not personal diaries, but rather the records of a self-experimentation. The dialogues that form these active imaginations can be regarded as a type of thinking in a dramatic form. When World War I broke out, Jung considered that a number of his fantasies were precognitions of this event. This led him to compose the first draft of Liber Novus, which consisted of a transcription of the main fantasies from the Black Books, together with a layer of interpretive commentaries and lyrical elaboration. Here, Jung attempted to derive general psychological principles from the fantasies, as well as to understand to what extent the events portrayed in the fantasies presented, in a symbolic form, developments that were to occur in the world. Jung recopied the manuscript in an ornate Gothic script into a large red leather folio volume, which he illustrated with his own paintings. The overall theme of the book is how Jung regains his soul and overcomes the contemporary malaise of spiritual alienation. This is ultimately achieved by enabling the rebirth of a new image of God in his soul and developing a new worldview in the form of a psychological and theological cosmology. Between 1916 and 1928, Jung published a number of works in which he attempted to translate some of the themes of Liber Novus into contemporary psychological language. In 1928, the sinologist Richard Wilhelm sent him a copy of the Taoist alchemical treatise The Secret of the Golden Flower, inviting him to write a commentary. Struck by the parallelism between the imagery of the text and some of his own mandalas, Jung finally decided to set aside his work on Liber Novus and not publish it. Instead, he devoted himself to the cross-cultural study of the individuation process, focusing on medieval alchemy in particular, using parallels with his own material as a means to present the process in an indirect and allegorical form. Until now, this has presented formidable challenges for people outside of Jung's inner circle. In the Red Book, he says, "We also live in our dreams. We do not live only by day. Sometimes we accomplish our greatest deeds in dreams." In the 20th century, Jung has been principally associated with the dream. The first two papers in this volume depict Jung's early approach to the dream during his psychiatric and psychoanalytic career. Here, he endeavors to show how a new rational hermeneutics may explain the obscure symbolism of dreams. In 1912, Jung had some powerful dreams that he didn't understand. In the first, he found himself in a southern town where he encountered at midday an Austrian customs guard whom someone described as the one who could not die. He then saw a
Sample complete. Ready to continue?